original soul. Welcome in to this reading. How are you feeling? I don't know. I honestly wanted to kind of go back to bed and kind of just like put my head down and go to sleep. So I don't know if there's a little heaviness going on or maybe just exhaustion. I've also been sort of having a strange morning where I can't really find the things I'm looking for, so it's kind of forced me or nudged me to like use a different deck or do something a little differently than I normally would. So I don't know if anything like that has been going on for you as well, where you're having these situations where it forces you to kind of shift or change or tweak something a little bit. I don't know, so we'll see if that's any part of this reading. So welcome in, welcome back. All right, let's jump into it, shall we? Okay, so I was really drawn to just pull cards down the center. So I don't know, again, if this is more about just being in the present moment, not really diving into past or future or that sort of thing, but just kind of right here, right now feeling. So up at the top, 8th house, number 32 on this image, endings and beginnings. Right when I saw this, I thought, oh, this is the death card in tarot, like for sure. Then I started reading in the book and it kept talking about tower moments, which also makes sense because this is associated with Scorpio. This is the house that Scorpio rules. So I thought, oh, the tower card, duh. And then after I got done reading about it, it correlates it to the 9 of Swords. So I don't know. We'll see if any of those come out when we add a little tarot to it. But endings and beginnings has been kind of a theme that seems like it's popping up. A lot of relationship energy in past readings. So if that's part of your situation, maybe this has something to do with this. But some sort of transformation or shift or change in your mindset. At the bottom of the reading, out of the dream deck, this beach card came out. Doesn't that look lovely? I don't know if you have any travel coming up or planned where you might be by water, or perhaps you live somewhere where you already are, somewhere tropical or by an ocean or a large body of water. But this, in the dream deck, talked about sort of two different takes on this type of dream. Either a longing to escape your kind of everyday life, your day-to-day routine, your responsibilities, and then also a wish fulfillment dream, of course. So at your root, at your core, again, some sort of maybe wanting something to change. Maybe you're kind of sick of the way your life is going. I was thinking the last 2 days, like, if someone told you your life would be exactly the same in 5 years as it is today, how would you feel about that? I definitely, when I thought about that question, just went, no, right? So again, some sort of possible, just wanting something to change, maybe looking for a little more excitement or a little more joy. Maybe you're changing up your routine or possibly transforming or shifting a larger part of your life, maybe shifting careers, changing relationships or ending a relationship. Maybe you're moving. So something like that. Like I said, it just feels heavy, which isn't necessarily bad, but just like, you're just going through sort of maybe these final stages before that new beginning starts or before that shift is over. And then in the center, at the heart of the reading, the Andean cross. Number 2 on this card, also with these 2 palm trees. It was sort of getting that balance, or if this does have to do with another person. I had not seen this card before, so I always get excited when I get a card out that has not come out before. And then I couldn't find the book and I felt really frustrated. So I had to do a little Googling online. And then before I started this reading, I thought I have to be able to find this book. And then I did find it, and I finally found all the cards that I was actually missing from last week's reading, which kind of chose me or drove me to choose different decks today, which of course impacts maybe what message comes out or how I feel about the imagery. So there is maybe something about that wisdom message from last week needing to carry over into this message as well. But anyway, I wanted to read you a piece out of this book. All right, so the essence. The Andean cross represents the cosmology of the shaman. I don't know if anyone out there is a shaman or is interested in shamanism. That's something I've been really feeling called to lately. So if you know of any good books or a program or a course or just any websites that might just get someone kind of started researching or learning a little bit more about that path, please let me know and drop it in the comments below. All right, the cosmology of the shaman. It depicts the 4 cardinal directions, the upper and lower worlds, and the step to reach these realms. The hole in the center is a gateway to interdimensional travel, the proverbial eye of the needle we can all go through to experience higher states of awareness and wisdom to break free of linear time. Right, so there's that wisdom coming in. Also, Scorpio is related to, everything psychic. So that's coming through with this card as well. All right, the invitation. The Andean cross announces the start to a great journey. There's that new beginning, that shift possibly. It's time to raise your gaze from the mundane day to day to that which until now has seemed beyond your grasp. Allow new wisdom to guide you and stop trying to make sense of it all before you respond with a resounding yes. Okay. So wisdom, tapping into other realms, all of that coming through, balance and harmony as well with this card. I talked about the 4 directions, also earth, wind, fire, and water, upper, lower, plus we have this realm, middle world. So all of that coming into more union, and again with that hole at the center, kind of going through that, what did it say? Interdimensional travel. So yeah, maybe you have astral travel, or you get a lot of insight in your dreams, or again, getting that information, even though you don't understand where it's coming from, as it mentioned, not trying to make logical sense of everything right away or trying to figure it all out, just sort of trusting that wisdom and moving in that direction. Like, have you ever talked yourself out of something awesome because you just started questioning everything about it? So yeah, having a little more trust again in the moment. You're not thinking about necessarily past or future, ruminating on everything. All right, so we'll get a spirit animal. This week we're going to use this emotions deck. This is actually a deck for kids, and it's got little prompts and just explanations, a little bit more of different types of emotions. There's more than just happy, sad, mad. All right, let's see here. As I see grumpiness and disgusted. All right, so let's get a spirit animal and maybe a feeling to come with it as well. Yeah, in my attempt to see everywhere in this lifetime, Peru is definitely on my list. And I know that the Andean cross is Incan tradition, I believe. Ooh, okay, we got, that seems like quite a lot. All right, Rage flew off to the side. So we're definitely going to take this one. Enraged Rhino. A strong feeling of uncontrollable anger. All right, so let's take Raged Rhino. Let's see who else came out. Distracted Dolphin, Tired Lion. I did talk about being tired, how I couldn't really find everything. So everything was really distracting this morning. Again, I don't know if you've had any of that energy where it's been a little confusing or chaos, a little exhausting here. All right, Proud Parrot. Angry Moose, Scared Bear, and Shocked Starfish. All right, we won't keep all these, but look how cute all these are. I know there has been some shocked energy and a little angry energy coming out lately. Of course, fear comes up in readings a lot. I just saw excited kangaroo. All right. I've listed half the animals in the world. Okay, so enraged rhino we'll take out of that slew that came out, since it kind of went flying out the most forceful. So this shift that I've been mentioning, some sort of change that you're looking for. This card did also mention day-to-day, so this could have to do with how your daily life functions and needing something to be different about that, or something has really just starting to kind of throw you over the edge. Also, if you're the type of person who gets enraged easily, might be a good thing to kind of look at, and that could be something that might need to shift or transform a little bit as well. Like if every little thing throws you, you know, off the, flying off the handle. You know, bringing a little more calm, a little more peace, a little more of this beach mindset. And remembering too that anger is a secondary emotion. There's usually something else that is causing that. Because either something has hurt you, right, or something you're afraid of. Or again, maybe you've kind of built up that sort of personality or energy in yourself. Yeah, definitely time to shift out of that. All right, we'll get a message out of this angel guide deck. Really check in with your body when you are feeling that uncontrollable rage. I'm sure we've all been there. I've definitely felt that way. That's when you just want to throw something, punch something, scream. One time I screamed so loud, I'm pretty sure I released a banshee. So I'm sorry about that. But those things do impact your body, right? Because emotions, that's where they start to come from first. So yeah, something with that. Coming in, coming through. All right, let's see. It's way up at the top there. Maybe being a little more patient, as I was talking about that enraged energy. Yeah, because there is a sacred plan with holy love at the bottom of the deck. Look at this beautiful energy. So if you are feeling that chaos, confusion, you start to get really angry or aggressive, right? Maybe you even just take that action of one hand on your heart, one hand at your belly, to bring yourself down a little bit, to bring yourself within. And then remember, there is a sacred plan. Right? Sometimes things need the right timing. As I mentioned, things weren't quite working out the way I wanted. What I was looking for, I couldn't find. The other day, actually, something happened with my phone that threw me into a rage and a panic and upset, and I wanted to cry and scream, and I was all frantic. It was insane, honestly. It was ridiculous. But it did drive me to, do something and be getting a new phone number, which is very exciting for me. Kind of disconnecting myself a little more from being attached to some things that I get through my day-to-day job. And then after I ordered that and did all that and started getting the new phone ready, the problem with the original phone went away, and it's just fine. But if that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't have pushed myself to just do that real quick after my mini tantrum and meltdown. Okay, enough of story time. But yeah, sometimes there's a sacred plan. Sometimes those wrong turns or little offshoots, whatever they may be, actually end up being, a trigger to do something that you should have done already, or, you make a different choice that ends up working out better in the end, that sort of thing. like the blessing in disguise energy, I guess is a good summary. Okay, we're going to get a couple cards out of this Lenormand deck, and then we'll add tarot to it, come up with the affirmation for the week. All right, so let's see what we get here. All right, with the endings and beginnings card, heart and birds came out. So I know at the very beginning of the reading, I had just sort of mentioned in a lot of the recent readings, there's been a ton of, relationship energy coming out, either divorce or just kind of unrest, upset, combativeness, those sorts of things. Could even be with family members. So endings and beginnings, putting an end to that heartache, putting an end to all this headache, chatter, chaos, like I've been mentioning, all those energies. Again, just come back to something simple. Your breath. Start to calm yourself. There is a little gash I'm noticing on this heart, sort of a slice right there through it. So definitely some sort of heartache and pain that has hurt you here, and you're definitely ready to shift and release out of that. Right? That's not easy or a quick thing to do. Let's see here. What just popped out? I don't really know what I was asking here. Letter and woman. All right, so maybe you are getting a little more clarity and balance with your feminine energy. This could be communication, either to or coming from a woman, a feminine sort of energy. All right, and then we'll add tarot to that. Let's get one or two here with each. If we can. Ring. Okay, so with moon, yeah, something's being illuminated here. This card talked about wish fulfillment. So wish fulfillment is definitely at your core, on your mind. I like how the ring is sort of the same shape as the island there. As I was just mentioning too, with divorce, right? Maybe you're ending some sort of marriage or relationship and going more solo, maybe isolating yourself a little bit more. And that might be just bringing in a little more balance. Right? Maybe there's been, again, some communication there. Okay, let's add some tarot to it. I say this all the time too. It's not surprising when sort of the same or similar message continues to come out, especially if nothing has changed, if nothing has shifted, if, everything is still in your head and no actions have been taken. Maybe you're feeling mad at the timing of everything. Right? I can tend to get impatient. All right, let's see here. Let's get a couple more. You could be connecting more too with a new guide. Maybe it's a feminine energy or even an ancestor that starts to send you some wisdom or some knowings, depending on how you receive that information. I mean, everybody has that ability, but that's something you have to practice and grow and try to interpret and understand. And that's not easy to do if you've had a lot of time in enraged energy, or if you're stuck in some sort of day-to-day routine, or having a lot of, just this with the birds, just this sort of headache, chatter, expectations, whether those are your very own or from other people. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so some sort of communication, bringing in more balance. Like I said, whether this is psychic communication with a new guide or an ancestor, or maybe this is, again, something you need to communicate that either you've been holding back, maybe something that's been preventing you from your wish fulfillment. Like I said, have you ever talked yourself out of something that you actually really wanted for who knows whatever reasons? Yeah, 9 of Wands came out. which is about boundaries. I just think this kind of looks like John Travolta from back in the day. All right, but some sort of boundaries, definitely putting an end to a pattern. I mean, we've been talking about endings and beginnings. That's at the very top of this reading. All right, so potentially some sort of boundary that you need to set. And when you are getting mad at other people, this happens a lot, especially when you try to, as the devil comes out, if you start to build a lot of resentment, you know, eventually you really are just getting angry and enraged at yourself, even though you're sort of directing it or blaming the other person. But eventually when a pattern has formed over time, right, you're the one that continues to make maybe that same choice over and over, or not stand up for yourself, or not do something differently. Also not just take action in a way that you want, like I said, or like the card said too, trusting the wisdom that comes in without questioning it, without second guessing it. Yeah, whatever this was, whatever this heartbreak, headache, this is something toxic. This is something that's been really controlling. It could be related to addiction, sex, third parties, cheating. And this also feels like emotional manipulation and control. So something really toxic that you are looking to shift out of. All right, let's go down to this ring by this beach. Just like hit me in the face. Page of Swords, which can be about communication as well, incoming or outgoing. I'm picking up on defensiveness a little bit with this card, so definitely this could be some sort of divorce situation. But also maybe with the boundaries, with taking action the way you want. This is being a little more clear. Maybe you're taking on some sort of new challenge or new task. Yeah, there's the moon again. Let's get one more with this. Yeah, you're really ready to defend what you want and what you desire. Yeah, and then balance with temperance, harmony. So taking those enraged feelings and taking your desire, right? And how can you alchemize everything? How can you get that to flow, to help you shift, to help you change, to help you get unstuck potentially? Yeah, and more into a celebratory energy, more moving towards your Ten of Cups, closing out different cycles. Yeah. Okay. Let's come up with an affirmation here. And this is definitely aligning more with yourself. This is getting out of that ruminating on the past. Like I said, I was really drawn to just do this one center row today and not even really kind of worrying about 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the future, right? What is happening right now? Getting more grounded, calming yourself. If you've had a lot of these enraged emotions, transforming that, changing that, alchemizing that, shifting, maybe standing up for yourself. Okay. All right. Let's come up with the affirmation. Here is what we've got here. I transform. What about that? Right. You transform. Okay, so what can you do this week to transform a little bit more, right? It may be a really big shift. This honestly does feel like something that's been going on for a while, whether you're in the process already or you've been in the process only of the thinking part of this. But there's time for a shift. It's time to align with yourself. So what can you do to transform? Are there little steps you could start to take? Maybe there's bigger steps you need to take. But definitely get in touch with your feelings. If you're noticing a lot of those enraged emotions, start to get grounded, get a little more control, right? And really look more within yourself and focus on that connection between spiritual, yourself, and this world. Really picking up on right, the inside of this cross here. Right, so again, it could be starting small. Go for a walk, drink more water. If you usually snap at somebody or yell or right, respond or react, maybe you do something a little bit differently this week. Maybe you eat a little differently. Maybe you switch up your routine and just drive a different way to work and see what that does for you. Right, so big or small, what can you do this week to transform? Because that is the the affirmation. We transform. All right, so that is what we have for you for this week's reading. I hope you found something helpful here. Again, I want to thank you so much for being here, for showing up. And until next time, peace.